Hello, hello. It's me. By myself. I think Neil stood me up. Therese isn't here because it's her anniversary and she's celebrating. So I hope she's having a wonderful time. Um, Welcome to Knit Night. It's weird. I'm by myself. Not quite sure how this is going to go for very long, but please feel free to comment in the chat and give me someone to talk to because I'd really appreciate that. So welcome, welcome. Um, yeah. So hope everybody had a decent weekend. Everyone got some knitting and mainly planning done because that was our big thing. There's 1,000 mouths about to go on or about to start, and figured we could talk about it. Anyone who wants to join me, Mom and Evan, if you want to come on, I can send you a link. Um, yeah, it's unexpected. Unfortunately, Joe Bob is still working her butt off, and her boss is not giving her time to come, so that's unfortunate. Hopefully, she will be able to get um, work. Uh, Hopefully, she will get a break in her work and get a chance to come. So hopefully, that'll be soon. Let me send Mom and Evan a link. Sorry, guys. Feel very unprofessional. Um, very unprofessional. I apologize. I'm not used to doing this by myself, and you guys have things you want to talk about, please let me know. I would love to talk about them. Mainly, what's everybody going to be doing on their for their which which mals are you guys going to do? I just sent you the link, Joan, so hopefully you can join me. Since I'm pretty sure Neil's asleep, so he didn't come. Joe Bob is a workaholic and not by choice. Hey everybody, hey Cheryl and Debbie and Wendy and Sherry and Travel Lori and everybody and Tina. Yeah, Joe Bob's business is expanding, and so she's gotten a ton more work. My arm is better. I still don't have full use of my hand, so we'll see when that happens. Unfortunately, it's slow going, but it's better than it was. I can do a lot of things. I still can't like lift, like hold a blow dryer or twist it too much or crochet or lift anything heavy, but it's better. And yeah, let me see if Tina's got the mals going. June 1st, somewhere on the lanai. Don't start early. June 14th, MAGA. You can start early. July 1st, knits in white satin. And then there's also June 1st, I think it is Cabot Cove Knits Summer of Murder. Yeah, let me go check. I send it to you on Instagram, Joan. Let me see what other knits mals we've got going on. It's crazy. Keep doing your stripes because I don't know when that's going to end. Keep doing your baby knits because even if DK and Anne's baby knit along has stopped, Amy always needs baby knits, but she needs blankets right now and hats. So if you guys want to, I know she'd appreciate it. That's the other one, Lori, 25 and 25 for Chicken Lady. You knit 25 or crochet or whatever, 25 and 25, and you put it on her bingo card and send it to her, and you get entered for prizes, and prizes are always good. So yeah, it's really exciting here. By myself, it's weird, and I can't really knit and talk at the same time because I'm not one of the most coordinated podcasters. But so anyway, I was working on the sample for my pattern that's going to the test knitters because I'm revamping the gauge a little bit, and I love the yarn. It's gorgeous. It's Tina's yarn, but I was knitting the wrong size, and so I frogged that one, and then I started the one for my daughter, who's actually agreed to be my model. And so I started it in this color because it'll actually show up a little better. And then I'll re-knit it in the green for me later on. I also have more of Tina's yarn coming for the orange knit along and for the summer on the lanai. So, so hopefully everybody else is getting their planning in. Thank you for coming on.
No
at short
problem.
notice. I meant to send you a link and I forgot. And Neil was supposed to be here, and I guess he went to sleep. Oh, thank you, Tina.
No.
Amy might come in later. Teresa, it's her anniversary. And so I made plans with Neil to be here, and you can see how that worked out. He's so going to owe me.
I am in my second week of practicing retirement.
Oh, nice. How are you enjoying it?
I love it. I wish I didn't have to go back to work, but I'm going to have to go back after Memorial Day. So,
well, you still got a week or two.
No, this is no Memorial Day is Sunday.
Is it this weekend? I thought it was next weekend. I
Next
lose track.
day. Yeah. So
okay.
So I have to go back, but you know.
Well,
I'm having fun. I did the LA yarn crawl. You know
what? Ooh, how was that?
It was fun. I'm gonna go grab a different pair of glasses because I'm blind.
Oh, I totally get that. Yeah, Neil's totally gonna owe me. Yeah, this is Banshee Fiber Arts in, I don't remember which colorway. I found her on Etsy, and she's a great dyer, really great on tonals and solids. It is, I don't know the colorway. I don't know. It doesn't have a colorway name on it. But there's a lot of great dyers on Etsy. We're lucky we have a lot of great dyers that we know, but it's always nice to find one who's really cool and helpful and everything.
So. Yeah, the stuff that I bought this weekend, I only went to 3 stores because I was not going further than Pasadena. But the stuff that I bought was all like locally dyed, most of it. So.
Oh, that's nice. How were the stores? Were they friendly?
Yeah, they were. They were. My only complaint about the yarn crawl was that some of the stores, the parking was atrocious. So I was like,
Yeah.
And I felt bad. The one lady on the last one that I went in, she goes, "Do you want to be on our mailing list?" And I said, "Probably not, because I live too far away from you."
Hey, you were honest. You know?
Yeah. I told her where I lived, and she was like, "Yeah, you don't want to be on it." I was like, "No."
Yeah. So. Not trying to be rude, just, it won't work out. I did get my yarn ready for Shark Week, so they better do Shark Week, because I'm going to be disappointed if they don't.
I'm very happy that you're going to be talking about all of the mows and cows, because apparently I'm in charge of knowing all of that.
Well, that's probably my fault, because Neil said to me one time, somebody should organize it. And I had just watched your episode that week, and you had everything. Oh, this one. I'm like, well, Joan knows them. So he's like, okay, I'll make her in charge.
I just know it, whatever I come across. So I have, I'm doing my own knit along.
When is yours starting?
Mine is starting May 30th.
Okay.
And ending August 10th. And
okay.
It is nothing exciting whatsoever. It's just Knit with Joan.
Okay. Do you have a logo or anything?
No, they can knit whatever they want. I have, it's on my last.
Okay. I haven't watched this past weekend's because it has not popped up on my Instagram, on my YouTube. For some reason, all the ones I'm subscribed to don't show up.
I'm noticing that too. I'm like, I'll have something pop up and I'm like, why is that popping up? And it's not anything that I subscribe to, but apparently YouTube decided that I needed to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I look up YouTube knitting tutorials and knitting podcasts. I mean, I watch other things, but you'd think occasionally those would actually pop up, but no.
Oh no, I'm getting all kind of stuff that I'm like, no, I would not have subscribed to that. So.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't know.
But go out and check out Joan's podcast, because she makes me feel so unorganized, and she's got everything down and what project she's working on and keeps track of it, and I just wing it. And
well, you would think I was on this week. I've been on my retire-ication this past week, And you would think I would get so much done. I didn't get that much done.
No, I didn't get a lot done either. It's really annoying.
Well, when
Now that
I
I
went,
can
I'm sorry, go ahead.
now that I can finally do some knitting, it's annoying. I can't do as
Yeah.
much as I'd like to.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Thursday, I told my husband, because I left my house at 9 o'clock to go to Eastern LA area. And
East LA?
not LA. I did not go into LA proper.
Okay, I was going to say, 'cause East LA is not a place I would want to go by myself.
East LA County.
Oh, okay, that's different.
And I didn't get home because of the traffic till like 5:30.
Ugh.
And I looked at him that night because I was pooped. And I looked at him that night and I was like, I haven't knit a stitch today, not one. So
I get that.
that's just wrong. So
I find it's therapeutic for me. So when I couldn't knit for a week, I mean, it was almost 2 weeks before I could actually knit anything, and that was stressful
no,
because it kind of keeps my mind focused. And when it's not the knitting, it's like I'm thinking about all the other. Oh, I got to pay this bill and that bill and do this and that. And
yeah, here's my ugly blanket, my 10 stitch. It's
not ugly.
My husband loves it. So I think what I'm going to do actually, because we have a real slippery area by our pool, and I think that I might actually make this big enough to be a rug.
You could like maybe stitch some of that rubber stuff on the bottom of it.
That's a good idea.
You know, that flat, the fabric that's got the rubber bumps, whatever, like they use for slippers. And then that way it won't screw the knitting so much.
Yeah. Yeah. So
since you sew.
Yeah, it's just, you'd think I sew. I haven't sewn in a while. I got to get myself together with that. But anyway. Yeah. So what do you... Okay, so do we want to talk about all the Mals and cows?
Yeah, that was my plan because we didn't have anything specific.
Okay.
There's so many at the same time. It's planning them out, which you can double dip in almost all of them, but you have to plan it.
I always do. Chicken Lady is always my number one, the 25 and 25.
Yeah, I'm way behind on that.
Oh, I am too. I think I've gotten 10 things done.
You've got more than me. I think I've got like 8.
Yeah, well,
I have a reason, but still.
Yeah, I mean, I'm counting sewing bags, and that's kind of cheating, but
not really.
And then I know there's another one, Seaside Sock Along. That's from May 1 to July 31, and whips are welcome.
I don't know who's running that.
That is Leah Loves to Knit.
Okay. Yeah, I have.
Am I shaking? Sorry.
No, I have a pattern I need to do for Blocked that I've been wanting to work on, but I can't start it till June because I think I can use it in both the Make Orange Great Again and the Somewhere on the Lanai and be a pattern for Blocked.
Well, I asked Neil if he needed me to test knit a 2-color shawl for him. I have the yarn for the Summer on the Lanai.
Was that pretty? Is that Chicken Lady?
No, I have some almost like it from Chicken Lady. This is Laser Sheep, but I don't want to use my Chicken Lady. I want to keep it.
Yeah, I have that problem too.
Yeah.
But I've been had this idea for the magazine in my head since he told me the theme of the issue. And I think I can make it work for 2. Can't make it work for the white one because that doesn't start till July and it's not white. But I think I can get it for those 2.
Well, I asked
So.
him if, I mean, I can find a shawl, a 2-color shawl, but I was like, hey, I'm going to make this anyway. If you need me to test knit something, I can do that for you.
Are you in the test knit group on Telegram?
Probably not. I
Well,
just got Telegram.
last week, I think.
Yeah. I just got Telegram back, and I've tried to Telegram Neil, and he's ignoring me. So
that's rude. I'll remind him when I talk to him when I tomorrow sometime probably, and tell him to send you the link for the test knit group.
Okay, so
I'm sure Morgan and Cassie would appreciate not being the only ones currently test knitting. But he's great to test knit for. Half the time it's not even finished. Like, hey, can you just test knit this chart on whatever yarn you want and whatever.
That sounds
really
great.
Awesome.
Sounds great. So then we have now tell me if I'm missing anything before then. I put Summer on the Lanai. Well, no, actually mine starts next. Mine is very loosey-goosey. All you have to do is go on to Instagram and put #KnitWithJoan. And that was my husband's idea because, he's like, oh, everybody's so sad about losing Joanne's. Just cut that last N off.
There you go. And what date is yours? The 31st through?
Mine is going to be May 30th through August 10th.
Okay.
And it will be, I will make a bag. I promise I will.
Well, if you send me a picture of your logo, I'll add it to my board that has all the different logos for the knit-alongs. Just your Mama Knits one is fine.
My Mama Nevin, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Where do I send that?
Either Instagram or Telegram, either one.
Perfect. I can do that. Okay. So Knit with Joan is May 30 through August, I think 10th. And the reason why I did that is because I live next door to an elementary school. I mean, literally like next door. And they get out of school May 30th and they come back August 10th. So that'll be my quiet time.
Absolutely. Chicken Lady said that there is a rubber backing stuff you can paint on, and when it dries, it's a bit tacky. Great for rugs.
Oh, great. I would love that. Well, it's going to be a while till I'm
going to make a 10-stitch one. I just haven't figured out which one I'm going to do.
I did the Frankie Brown one. And I actually, I can't think of the name of the lady that said, here's an easier way to do the corner. So.
Well, I saw one that was like X's, kind of, and I've seen I kind of like the rectangle one that Neil showed on the last Knit Learn Tradatha when they were on the Hot Right Now. Because I don't necessarily want a round one.
Yeah, I have to, I got to get on that. I'm so far behind on all my podcasts, what with YouTube hiding them from me.
Yeah.
Okay. So then Summer on the Lanai is June 1 to September 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay. So that's 4, including mine.
Make America Great Again is
Moga.
Make America Orange Again, sorry. Yeah. That is June 1st through whenever, September, I think.
Yeah, he's got a weird date too. September 30th.
There you go.
Okay. And that's all that I know of. So I know hopefully we're going to do the shark one again, right?
That'll be Shark Week. That's DK and Anne, and I haven't heard a date from them yet.
Okay.
But I hope they're doing it because I have my yarn ready for it. And if anybody in the chat has not done, the Summer of Murder is the other June 1st one that Tabitha just reminded me of. June 1st through end of August. Watch True Crime and Craft.
Okay.
Tabitha, do you want them to put pictures on Instagram or on Telegram?
And
Yeah, Shark Week's in July.
does she have a hashtag?
I don't know yet.
Because I'm going to look up all the hashtags for all of these. This is what I'm going to make for the Moga.
Oh, nice.
It's sock yarn. I'm going to make my husband a pair of socks out of it.
Nice. I have 2 projects, maybe 3 planned. It depends on how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
I would have done 3, but now that we've got the other knit-alongs, it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
have to rearrange my thinking. I have this color that the first project is going to be this with black. This is going to be in a block
Ooh,
cowl.
that
Neil
sounds
said it's orange enough.
so pretty.
And
That's
then I have my Shark Week, which I have my Amity Island.
ooh.
And because it's the 50th anniversary of Jaws, which is my favorite movie of all time.
Oh,
Um,
not me. I am not into that kind of stuff.
And then I got Tina dyed me a colorway. I asked her, and this is Amity that she dyed for Shark Week. So
I'll tell you what a chicken I am. When Exorcist came out in theaters, okay, that's how long ago this was. I was such a chicken that I was out in the lobby talking to the people who came out to smoke.
God, I remember when people would leave movies to smoke. That was back in the day.
Yep. So I just stayed out in the lobby.
Tabitha says Instagram is fine. Just tag her because hashtags don't show up. So she said just tag Cabot Cove Knits.
Okay. So at Cabot Cove, did she erase all of her episodes?
I don't know if she's erased them. I don't know if they're just not accessible right now.
Okay.
I don't know. She said if she hearts your photo that you tag her on, she has her entry, and that's basically the same for all of them. The other one that starts is Knits in White Satin, which is Knitler and Traditha, which you can only knit in white. Not off-white, not ivory, not just white, not white with speckles, not two-tone, just plain white. And that one, I believe, starts July. I'll have to get the exact dates from her and Neil.
Okay. Because he
then,
also wanted me to give him a list of all of these to put in blocked.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have any just straight white.
I ordered some because I'm going to make a shawl that I'm going to use for a tree skirt.
Yeah.
For Christmas, but for a little tree. This
is too off-white, huh?
You'd have to check with them, but I know they want white.
Okay.
It's going along the same time the orange one is going on, so that's fun.
Okay.
Zero clue or dates. She's not sure about the clue or dates yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you know the theme for Shark Week. I don't know it yet, and I wish I did, but Anne never told me.
Is she taunting you?
Probably. Tabitha said she took her episodes down for now. I'm sure they'll be back at some point, I hope.
Okay. Because I went to look to see her latest episode because I didn't get a chance to watch it to see if she had information about her cow on there, and it was gone.
Yeah, she had her reasons. I'm sure she'll work it out.
Yep.
As far as I know, we're still accepting entries into the striped cow. So,
and when
Joe has not. Well, it was supposed to be over April, but since Joe is not here to stop it, we're just continuing it until whenever she says to stop it. Okay. So, and I think that's it till Shark Week, which will be sometime in July, which Anne and DK will let us know about when they have the dates.
Let me see if I can find out when Shark Week is on TV.
Last I checked, Discovery had not announced it yet. Maybe they have in the last few days. The one year they actually gave the wrong date first and then had it didn't a different date, which was annoying because our Shark Week was off. But yeah, Chicken Lady reminds it is not white is not undyed yarn. There is no white natural yarn. It's more creamy and you can't bleach wool. So
how do you get white yarn?
Acrylic, I guess, or cotton maybe.
Okay. have a lot of acrylic. I just don't know what to make out of it. Okay. This says July 16th, 6th through 13th.
Okay. Oh, well, then that's when it'll be. If
Well, I didn't get that directly from Discovery, so I'm still checking.
yeah, unless you get it directly from Discovery and won't use the
Right.
date, because we got burnt one year.
Yeah,
Chicken Lady says make things for babies in white.
I could do that. Yeah, I can make a. I don't know how big does it have to be?
They haven't specified.
Mhm.
Tina's doing a white cotton with a white sparkle. I've got a white. I ordered from a chick that knits because she
Mhm.
does yarn with this tiny sequins,
Mm-hmm.
and so I ordered her white with white sequins because I wanted a little sparkly because it's going to be a tree skirt.
Okay.
So it's actually a one skein shawl, but
Okay.
we only when we do a tree, we only do a little one, and this one will remind me of my grandmother because she had these butterflies that she put on the tree every year.
Oh.
That's how she decorated her tree, and all of us grandkids have a couple of them. And so I want to make the tree skirt. The knit pattern has butterflies, and it's all from cables. So I want to make that kind of a reminder of my grandmother.
So sweet.
And it's a one skein. Thank you. It's a one skein. I'm trying to think small projects for some of these cows because holy heck, there's a lot of them.
Well, why don't you tell us what the pattern is?
I can do that. Hold on one second. It is what up in my Adobe?
Oh, I wanted to, for anybody who didn't get the memo, I'm sure you all did, but Big Twist is going to be sold at Mary Maxim and Hirschner's.
Oh, and I knew Hirschner's. I didn't know about Mary Maxim. That's awesome. I don't know. Adam and Pirate aren't here this week. I guess they don't want to be here. I'm sad.
Well, fine.
This is the pattern. Come on. Okay, it doesn't. Okay, no,
What's the name?
it is called, the one I'm doing is Butterflies Flying Out of Your Stash Box.
Okay.
And it's all textured little butterflies. It's really pretty, and it's a one skein shawl. And I bought the pattern a long time ago.
A little bit more. Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah. Actually, it's really nice because she has gauge and yarn requirements for different lengths and different weights. But I bought it a while ago and just never did it. And I thought it would look good in the white because, white.
Okay, I sent you my logo.
Awesome. I will add that to our bulletin board logo with all the nails.
It's not, mine is not anything exciting. It's just a prize from me. So
that's awesome. Teresa and I were talking about one, but it wouldn't be before like October.
Mm-hmm.
And it might just be based on stash.
Okay.
But we don't have any specifics yet, so I don't want to say yet. But that was one of the things we were thinking about, just stash. That you can't buy any yarn for it.
God knows I have enough of that.
So we'll see. Depends on how things go.
If you could see around my room right now, it's bad.
I have a ton of it. I have yarn from Tina coming for my second orange project.
Mm-hmm.
And then got the white one. Some of them I can count as Summer on the Lanai.
Mm-hmm.
So Summer of Murder, they'll count as well because there's no specific colors.
Right.
Just watch true crime and knit or crochet or craft or whatever you do.
I do that every day. So
yeah, me too. And then
it.
yeah, it's just crazy. Shark Week is fun because if you don't finish, you have to frog it. So if any
Yeah.
of you have not participated in Shark Week before, Anne is cruel, and basically you knit or crochet or whatever, and if you don't finish it within the time frame, you have to frog it, or you don't get included for prizes. And there are prizes for people who finish, and there is a prize for people who don't finish.
Yeah, I
At
think
least there was last year.
Yeah,
So.
I did one of the prizes for people who didn't finish last year. I made them a bag and sent them.
That was sweet.
Thank you. I'm trying to be sweet. I'm getting old, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
gotta get into heaven. No, I know how to get
don't we all? It's crazy.
No, I just have
People be
mellowed.
crazy.
I have mellowed so much since my boys were young.
Yeah.
I ran a tight ship when they were young.
Yeah, it was ours. We were much more strict with our kids, but they're good kids, and you know, I'm proud of them. I was just reading on Bitch Eating Crafters on Reddit. Once again, someone was calling out some podcasters overconsumption, and it's because they had 1,600 skeins in their stash and whatnot. And it's like, you know, if you don't like that, that's fine. But it's not for you to say how other people spend their money, and
Right.
Spending that money helps the economy. So,
right. Well, I'm spending mine now because I'm retiring next year for real, and there won't be any big stash hauls next year. So
makes sense.
Spending it while I can.
You got to do what you got to do, but as long as you're not hurting anybody, and you're in charge of your own finances, and it's not like people are out there forcing other people with a gun to their head on their podcast saying you better buy more yarn.
Yeah,
that's not how it works. So
I have always had a problem with people complaining about podcasts. It's like, if you're not a patron, you can't say anything. I mean, I do mine for free. I don't get paid to do that.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I'm not, my listeners are so wonderful. They're so nice. So,
thanks.
They've always been really kind to me. Yes, and thank you, Liz, for being a listener.
Oh, of course. We're very lucky that we have a great group of people in our community who follow us and watch us in the chaos. And like Tina said, the size of my stash is between me and the people who get my stuff after I die. That's it.
Right. I know, my poor daughter-in-laws. I feel bad for them, but anyway.
Now my kids know what to do.
Yeah.
Pack it all up and send it to Therese and Joe.
Well, I told mine, and I don't know how they would do this, but I was like, find out if people are subscribed to my account, put a notice out, send it to them.
Yeah. It's just, I dislike the people telling other people how to spend their money. It's like they get mad when these celebrities who have a ton of money spend their money. It's like, but if you don't spend money, that doesn't improve the economy at all.
Exactly.
Like, you know, it shows, hey, this person worked hard and they made money, and now they're spending the money that they rightfully earned. So,
and
why is that a bad thing?
I'm doing my part for the economy. So, just so you know.
That's right. Yeah. I'll have to chat with Neil and see.
Okay.
Dates and everything.
Yeah, we need more info about the knits and white satin. And then, is there any after that we know about? This one I got to put the.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
A couple of years ago, was it 2 years ago? And over the last year, did the Puritanical Knitting Fun Run.
Oh gosh.
I don't know if they're going to do something similar or not. That was in the fall. So that was knitting in black. But you didn't have to frog it if you didn't finish. So
okay. Well, I have told many a person, it's like, will you make this for me in black? Nope, sure won't.
I will make my immediate family, but that's it.
Mhm.
Like, you
Well,
know,
what I tell people when they're like, "Can you make this for me?" And I'm like, "No, but I'll teach you how."
yeah. Well, yeah, I don't use generally
Mhm.
make for anyone other than my immediate family, and occasionally my mother-in-law's got some
Yeah,
shawls and hats and things.
yeah.
I did make hats for my son's roommates and friends for Christmas because
Mhm.
they asked me for them, and they love them.
That's
And
nice.
his former boss, who he's gone to 2 different jobs with, I make one every year for her and her daughter
Mhm.
because she was his work mom and looked out for him on his first real job. And they ask for the hats and they're grateful and they treat him right. So
There
it's
you
like
go.
I had given his roommate one the year before for his birthday. And when he got the new one, my son reminded him, wash and cold, and before he could say lay flat to dry, his roommate's like, lay flat to dry, don't put it in the washer, don't put it in the dryer, it's wool. So, like, see, you've got him trained. It's awesome.
See, most of the things that I make for other people, except for socks, I use superwash wool and I tell them, you know, wash, lay flat to dry. But most things I make for people that don't know any better, I make it out of acrylic because it's like,
Um, I did, but like I these kids are smart, they're responsible. They have other like fancy clothes, like they have dry cleanable stuff too. So I figured
mhm,
they're perfectly capable of taking care of things. But mostly if it's a gift, especially anything baby, I tend to do acrylic because yes, I know a lot of countries do wool with babies and I have no problem with that. I just think new parents, the last thing they need to worry about is how to launder things.
absolutely.
So I prefer to give them something that's easy
Yeah.
to deal with. Um, that's
Yep.
not knocking anybody else who does wool. If you do wool, that's great.
Yeah.
But um, I also live in Las Vegas where the desert is, so a lot of the babies have not needed heavy things to begin with. So
No,
um, I tend not to do heavy blankets, except for the ones like in Utah, because they actually get winter.
they actually get winter. Yeah. They
Yeah,
actually get snow.
yeah. But other than that, I knit for my kids because they'll wear them.
Hmm.
But that's about it.
Well, started, I've been knitting for my, what I call my co in laws. So it's my daughter in law's parents and
Mhm.
siblings and stuff like that. So,
I've done stuff for my like hats and shawls for my mother-in-law and my father-in-law, and I have knit two of my nieces a couple things because they actually appreciate it. So they're definitely knit worthy. And one is living in Iowa now and asked me for hats. So I will get those out before winter
yep.
because she's a desert baby like my kids, and it's cold in Iowa.
Yeah. Well, I don't have anybody in cold weather to knit for. I used to, and then I, I don't now. So, but, you know, any
Yeah,
excuse to knit, right?
exactly. And I just wanted to mention don't feel stressed or frustrated if you can't do something for all of the mouths. We all understand that. We don't want anybody to struggle and
Right.
you know, be miserable because they're trying to
Do all of them.
um yeah.
I'm
Um
I'm not going to do all of them if that makes anybody feel better. Um,
I'm going to try only cuz it makes me finish things.
yeah.
Um but I'm trying to think. Debbie wants a t-shirt pattern. I'm working on a t-shirt pattern now, but it hasn't been testing it yet.
Okay.
Um but I'm trying to think of what good t-shirt patterns that people have knit. Um I'm trying to think. I've only knit a couple because desert
Yeah.
don't
Well,
wear a lot of
that's kind of where I'm at too, Liz.
you
That
exactly.
like I don't knit hats because we don't need hats. I don't knit cowls because we don't need cowls. So socks we need because I have cold feet. But
yeah, I mean, my daughter gets cold. Like even when it's warm, she is colder, so she'll wear hats. My son and his friends will wear hats even if they don't really need them because it's a fashion thing. Um, you know, that 20 something. Um, but I tend not to wear a lot of wool in the summer because it's 100. It will be 100 on Thursday.
yeah,
So,
I think we're actually going to have a cool Memorial Day here.
oh, nice. I
Well,
wish.
kinda, because we were, our deal. Everybody comes to our house Memorial Day to get in the pool,
Mm.
and it might be kind of getting in the pool. So
Yeah, it's probably going to be over the hundreds here. I don't know. We
yeah,
won't get any. We won't get any rain. That rain we had a couple weeks ago was
no,
lovely. Just not enough of it.
I
The
know.
wind we had this past week was not fun. We were under severe wind advisory, 50
Really,
mile an hour gusts for like 2 days, which isn't fun.
yeah. Mother
But
Nature is very stingy with the rain where I live.
yeah, yeah,
Very stingy.
exactly. We used to get the monsoons, but we don't get them as much anymore.
Well, it's like it gets to the border of my city and it goes, oh, wait, we can't go in there. And it goes around.
That's how it is here. Like a friend I have who lives on way on the other side, she'll have rain and we won't get any rain.
Yeah. Well, my kids both moved to Orange County and they were calling us like, oh, we got so much rain. We're like, shut up.
Yeah.
Because I love rain. I'm from a place where I grew up with a lot of rain. So
Same. I grew up in North Carolina and New Jersey, and we had both.
yeah, well,
But
I grew up across the lake from New Orleans,
so
the
you're
same
used to
town that
rain too.
he lives in.
Yeah.
So I miss my rain.
Yeah, that's the one drawback here is we don't get the change of seasons.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much hot, hotter, even hotter, and less hot.
Well, I mean, you are definitely you have it worse than I do. But
Yeah, we're not as bad as some places in Arizona though.
yeah. Oh yeah.
'Cause
But
that's gnarly.
the great thing about where I live is a lot of times, even if it's blazing hot in the daytime, it cools down at night.
Yeah, we don't always get so cool in the night,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But that's because of the city. Everything's concrete and we don't have any trees. And the sun just reflects off all the hot surfaces. So
Yeah.
it's like people come here, yeah, there's no humidity and that's great, but also there's no shade.
When my husband and I went to Disney World for our 30th anniversary, and I walked out the door of the airport, and that humidity hit me, and I was like, "Oh, I forgot about this."
Yeah, my son was in Kentucky last weekend because one of his friends was graduating law
Mm-hmm,
school
mm-hmm,
and he'd forgotten what humidity was like. He was like, "Whoa, mom."
mm-hmm.
I said, "Yep, that's the way it is."
Indeed, indeed.
And though he enjoyed it, he enjoyed seeing all the green hills. I wish I knew more t-shirt patterns. Debbie loves yarn. I just have not knit a lot of them. So people in the chat looks like they've given a few of them. I don't know a ton of them off the top of my head.
I can't see the chat, so
She
I'll
was
look at it.
asking for t-shirt patterns,
I'll look at it later.
and I have not knit many of them, but there's a few that maybe one day I will get to, but I don't have any like specific ones that I can recommend because I haven't knit them. But so
I'm getting some of my goals done sitting here talking to you.
Well, I'm glad. I'm frogging. Well, not frogging. I'm tinking back because I can't count to 4, evidently.
What
So
happened?
that's on me. But yeah, if you can't do all the mouths, we understand. Just participate whatever works for you.
Yeah.
Um,
Whatever works, whatever you want to
it's
do.
just fun because then people can talk about it and post their pictures and engage, and you know,
Yeah,
it's always fun to be part of that group.
I've thought about doing a group in Telegram for my cow, Mal, whatever. Just make something.
Yeah, I have to get used to saying Mal because normally I say cow, but people do other things too, and I don't want them to feel left out. Like, sure, you can do cross stitch or spin or weave or
Yeah, I'm not picky.
anything.
I'm not picky. I just want them to do it along with me.
That's right.
So
The next due date for Blocked is June 14th. So if you want to write an article or submit a pattern or have any ideas, contact Neil because I'm sure he would appreciate it. I believe the theme is hoist the colors, which can mean anything from pirates to colors to any way you apply it.
House. I have my little pirate.
That's true.
I have an idea that I am not able to follow through on, but I would like for us to have like a mystery shawl or something in Blocked, and where we get hints every episode, every issue.
Month.
Yeah.
Talk to Neil about it. You just have to find somebody who wants to design one.
Mm-hmm.
I've only designed a couple shawls. Cheryl from Wise Owl Knits has some gorgeous, gorgeous shawl patterns.
Yeah. Well, I was attempting to design one, and then I went, no, this is going to be a lot of math.
That's where I am on this top pattern. Is I'm in the grading stage now, and math is not my forte, and I really don't like the grading, but I'm working through it so I can get it to test knitters.
There you go.
Yeah. It's like you knit one size and it's like, oh, okay, these are the numbers you need, but then you realize in other sides the numbers don't always work out and you have to adjust. And
that's why if I ever designed anything, it would either be a shawl or a cow.
I've done cows, I've done shawls.
Too.
Once you do one or two, you kind of figure out how things work. And but I have a cow that'll be in the next Blocked.
Oh, okay.
I just haven't knit it because I have to wait till June 1st so that I can count it for the summer on the lanai and get it done by June 14th and the Make Orange Great Again.
I know.
Because, that kind of threw all my knitting plans.
I know.
A little bit sideways, what I was trying to get done this summer because of the cows, but I can work around it.
Well, that's a part of my thing. I mean, because I've never met a blanket I didn't like. So
yeah, I know.
I'm crazy with the blanket. And do I need blankets where I live, Liz? No.
I started a blanket pattern, but I haven't touched it in 2 months because it got hot. And what was I thinking?
On you.
No, I'll have to figure out how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna get it done because it's for me. But it's just a matter of finding the time, which is crazy because there's so many things you want to knit and do, and
oh, I know.
Can't.
It's like, I wish I could knit in my sleep. I'd get so much more done.
Oh, he completely forgot.
Neil forgot us?
He was doing something for Shauna and he forgot.
The nerve. Is he coming?
I don't know.
Okay.
I feel sad because I was forgotten.
I didn't forget you for
I
once.
know, I know. And I meant to send you the link and I forgot because I was doing it in the car this morning or yesterday, trying to do that and figure out my grocery list at the same time. And it's like, well, we'll see who comes and if anyone comes and crazy. Thanks
Yeah,
everybody for putting all those suggestions in the chat.
anytime you need
We
me.
really appreciate our chat. Oh, thank you. That's awesome. I like our community.
Yeah.
You know, we
Well,
have really good people.
my husband was so cute. Yesterday and today, he said something funny. Yesterday, he always watches my show with me right after I send it out into the world. And he goes, it was all right, but it had a lot of knitting in it. I was like, this is a knitting show, right?
One of the reasons why we live stream is because we don't have to edit anything or watch it back. It
Yeah,
makes life a little easier because
I
when
do
we
a lot.
first started, we were recording episodes and it was just hard. And we'd much rather be live and interact with the chat.
Yeah. Well, I've kind of gotten my like how I do things, like what order I do them and stuff like that. So I kind of got that down now, and that helps a lot, I think.
Yeah. I think it's hard doing it by yourself. I don't know if I could do that. I'm really intimidated.
My husband said that to me too. He goes, how can you talk to yourself? I was like, I'm an only child. I spent my whole life talking to myself.
Well, that's what my daughter said when I went to come do this. And she's like, well, have fun talking to yourself. Just don't answer. Like, yeah. But it's more fun when you have somebody, I think, to bounce ideas off of.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's crazy when you have the chat that come up with most amazing things that crack us up and start the chaos, because we do enjoy being a little chaotic from time to time.
Yeah.
We can't just be boring knitting podcast all the time.
Right.
But not that yours is boring. I'm not saying yours is boring.
No,
I'm just saying for us, we try to let
I
the
get it.
conversation go wherever it goes and hope for the best.
Yeah. I have to write mine down because remember I said he said something funny this morning? I don't remember what that was now. So I have to write notes to myself or I'll forget everything I'm going to tell people. And a lot of times I have to go back and add stuff in. So
yeah, I'm doing that now, just trying to remember to add notes, because between discovering later in life I have ADHD and menopause brain, it's crazy how my memory is like insane.
Well,
used to be I could remember stuff. I could remember facts and dates and everything, and now it's like I can't remember anything.
Oh no. I have not been diagnosed with ADHD, but my son has. And so he'll say things and I'm like, oh wait, was I ADHD all these years and didn't know it? But I think, go ahead.
That's how I kind of figured it out, because my daughter was diagnosed, and then when we were going through all the different symptoms and how I should have known that she had issues, but I didn't, because she taught herself to cope so well. And we talked about it and realized that I have a lot of the same problems, and my husband does too.
Yeah.
But our generation, it's not something really that was focused on. It was like, just work through it and you'll be fine.
That's just what I was going to say. Our generation, it was like, suck it up and deal.
Yeah.
And you learn, like, I have learned little tricks over the years, and that's part of why I have so many projects going. I can't sit and work on one project. I'll lose my mind.
And see, I used to be monogamous. When I was just a crocheter, I never had more than one project going, unless like somebody was having a baby and I had to stop and make a baby item. But I always did, one project at a time. And it wasn't until knitting took over my life that I actually started doing more than one at a time. But my daughter and I figured that the crocheting, I always had crocheting in my hand, was my way of coping. And menopause brain just adds that level of insanity on top of it.
Well, I have told my children many a time that knitting has saved their lives.
That's true. I totally agree. Because there are times when you take that step back and you go sit down.
Well, I was just always so stressed out, and I'm just not as stressed out anymore. Yay.
Yay.
So, but my poor little babies, sometimes I feel bad.
You know, they know your heart, I think. And I think that that makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they know their mama loves them.
Yeah. And, don't make her mad because.
Well, my logo, it's funny. My daughter in law made my logo for me. And here's my logo. I like that it looks, my little yarn ball looks a little sassy.
Mm-hmm.
Because I am
It's
kind of
adorable.
Thank
It's
you.
adorable.
Yes, my daughter-in-law did a wonderful job.
Our friend Yo-Yo made my logo for me. And then later on, I went through a online thing to do our Knit Night logo because
Mm-hmm.
can't keep asking your friends to make everybody's logo for them.
Yeah.
So I've added your knit along to my bulletin board of knit alongs.
Okay.
So yeah, I just add everybody's logo or for whatever it is on mine for when I post for Instagram or when I post for the set up
Okay.
the StreamYard link, because that way it reminds me of the different what else is going on, because there's a lot going on.
Every summer. I remember last year I had so many knit alongs listed, and the Texas Peach did the Fluff Your Stash, and
Yep.
and like, what's her name? I can't think of her name. Oh, sorry. That's to remind me to feed Pirate.
Totally understandable. Pirate needs to eat.
He's been sickly this past week.
Oh no.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna go feed him real quick. I'll be right back.
No worries. So chat, how many knit alongs are you guys going to join? And how are you coping with double dipping? Because as far as I know, all of our knit alongs you can double dip in as long as you follow the qualifications, which means use orange and white when necessary. If you're not sure if your color quantifies, especially white, check with Neil or Tabitha, because they'll let you know. And you'd rather be safe starting and instead of later finding out it doesn't work. All of them, and you're not double dipping, Tina? Wow. Mama Nevis Mal is Knit with Joan, hashtag Knit with Joan. Starts May 30th through August 10th, and it's just knit. Knit whatever you want, or crochet whatever you want, and post it with the hashtag Knit with Joan. So there you go. That's hers. And then there is the 25 and 25 from Chicken Lady, and you can get your bingo card from her. I think it was on her Instagram, but she might be able to send it to you if you ask her for it nicely. And then there is the Make Orange Great Again, which starts June 1st, which is through Block Magazine. The Knit in White Satin, which is Knitler and Tabitha, and you can only knit in white, not off-white or any other white because they're picky. The Summer on the Lanai starts June 1st, which is the Golden Girls, Amy from Two Sisters and Some Yarn, Pro-Life Knitter. Knit something that says screams Summer on the Lanai. Cabot Cove Summer of Murder. It just Tabitha's knit and watch true crime, and then just tag her when you post it on Instagram. Knit all the baby things, and because we all need the baby things for Amy. and let them live, and then keep knitting stripes if you want to, because Joe hasn't said to stop it yet. And those are the ones going on now. So yeah, Wendy, I'm going to try. We're going to have to see how the double dipping goes. I know I can do 2 at one time, 3 possibly, 4, actually 4, because it'll be, if I finish it, it's 25 and 25. So I can do 4 with one project. But the best laid plans of mice and men, you know how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't always work. 5, Deanna, that's brave, because that's a lot of knitting. And it should be fun, everybody talking about their different knit-alongs on their podcast and on their Instagram and in Telegram. If you're not in the Telegram chat, join. It's a lot of fun. We don't always stay on topic, but it's entertaining nonetheless. And if you haven't gone and seen the new episode of Knit Learn Tradatha, go watch that, and go watch Joan and Annie, A Stitch in the Sky has a new episode, and Shauna Stitches has a new episode. And last weekend, Two Sisters and Some Yarn finally had a new episode. So that was very exciting. We haven't seen Denise in a long time, and seeing her and Amy together is always a riot. And Denise's matching of her yarn and her bags are total goals.
Oh, isn't that amazing how she does that?
I know. It's awesome.
I sent
like Denise is the grown up. Oh, and Chicky Lady has a new episode too. I forgot you posted that yesterday. I'm sorry.
That's what I was going to tell you.
Yeah.
Chicken Lady, I was watching the episode with my husband, and she came on and thanked me for the bag that I sent her. And he looks at me, he goes, "You're famous." No.
Famous in a very, very exclusive group of people that's very, unique. But hey, we don't care what other people do as long as they leave us alone.
Yeah.
And we don't go after them, and they shouldn't go after us.
I know.
And Neil has threatened.
I know. I saw his upcoming thing. I was like,
well,
uh-oh.
Watch to the end and see what happens, because it should be interesting. I'm sure there's a lot of people questioning what he's going to be putting up there, which, hey, they've gone after him a lot, and
oh, I know. Poor Neil.
It's rude.
Yes.
So
it is. But, I mean, and the things they've said about the magazine, it's like, have you really ever read one of them? Because they're really pretty good. And the fact that they're free.
Yeah, unlike the expensive newspaper that's out now.
I know.
And it's open for everybody. We don't exclude anybody in the magazine. It's like, you can't read the magazine and claim, oh, it's racist, or it's because it's not. Because if you actually read the articles and looked at the papers, and when he calls someone out, he's calling someone out for bad behavior in the community.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, because if you don't call out people who are acting badly, they hurt other people.
Yep.
And not just hurt their feelings, but hurt them financially.
Yeah. Well, I got something. I think I got an email today where he had written a letter to Jimmy.
Yeah. Because he thinks Jimmy was the one in his Patreon who was posting things from the chat to the Patreon, because somebody has to spend their time and money going into someone else's Patreon to expose them or whatever else they were doing. I don't know. I find it ridiculous.
Well, I personally think with them, the stuff that they're doing is a diversionary tactic.
Oh yeah, because they don't want people asking about the financials.
Yeah, so that's what I think, because if they get everybody to concentrate on Neil, then people will stop looking at them, and go, "Where's the money we gave you?"
Yeah, and the fact that nobody's questioned him just says a lot about people who are okay with the status quo of people taking money from people with no accountability.
Yeah.
And, that's what it is. It's one thing to say everyone can donate their money wherever, whatever cause, whatever goal they want to. However, when you take money from somebody for something that you say it's specifically going for, and then you don't put it there, and it never materializes, that's fraud. I don't
Mhm.
know if you can legally say it's fraud. I mean, I don't know how it works, what the law is once you give the money for a GoFundMe as regards to what they can use it for, but it's supposed to be used for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And it's kind of ridiculous
Well, I
how many
think
times she's asked for money for
GoFundMe
different
has
things.
kind of gotten out of control.
Yeah, they have. But it just shows people have money to give away to total strangers. So, maybe the economy's not that bad. You know,
Hmm.
I don't know. I just think it's taking advantage of people's kindness and their innate need to do good. And I think when he calls out bad people that there's nothing wrong with that because they deserve it. And
Yep.
I don't
I'm happy that we have someone that's willing to do it.
yeah, I don't do public boycotts
Mhm.
because I figure people have the right to choose how they spend their money, and I won't get involved unless
Mhm.
um, they're lying or something that's illegal or causing harm. I might privately boycott them, but that's between me and whatever business because I think
Right.
other people have the right to decide how to spend their money, and it's not my right to tell them how to spend their money or who they should support and who they shouldn't support.
Yeah.
But when it's fraudulent, I think yeah, calling it out is a good thing.
Yep.
And you know, let people spend their own money. It's their money. They're adults, but don't.
Sorry.
If I want to privately boycott someone, I'm going to privately boycott for my own reasons, and I don't have to explain them to anybody.
Right. Right.
Yeah, Tina, we know exactly at the time that money wasn't going to be used for what it's used for. She's a total grifter, but we knew that and have known that for a long time.
So I wonder what happened to the money, really.
What, the Lola Bean money?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. I know some of her yarn is now getting dyed in Peru. I think it's Peru. It's one of the South American countries. I think it's
So,
Peru.
so it's not her dyeing her yarn like she claimed.
Not all of it, as far as I know, because I know on her website people had pointed out where it said, um, the yarn was dyed in Peru, curated and dyed in Peru, I think. Yeah, the Scamanda went to jail over wire fraud, the money from the GoFundMe that was supposedly going to cancer treatments. Yeah, that's the only way you can have the FBI can have a case against it, 'cause if it's wire fraud. But I think they write him now so ambiguous that
Mm-hmm.
they can get away with. And people always give in to her. I mean, she's done so many GoFundMe's for so many reasons. People just open up their pocketbooks, and I don't even think they care about why with her. I think they figure if they don't contribute, then they don't want to be seen as not being part of the right kind of people by not supporting. So they just give. And I don't think they, ever expect anything out of her from it, which is sad. But,
Yeah, it's
you
really.
know, it's like, all those people who supported her when she was going after Christy Glass. And just because, I'm sorry, when you have somebody who's on the cover of a knitting magazine, you think she'd actually be knitting or a picture of her knitting. But no, regardless of who it is. But, to question that, that's racist, I guess. The other person's money went to craft beer and edibles. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure,
What?
Tina. Oh, she's talking about somebody else.
Oh, okay.
It's a grifter, a nasty, awful grifter. And also money to fly to London, which never happened too, luckily. Um, Another grifter who likes to go after people's money and lie about it. But I don't know. I don't blame Neil for going after them,
Mm-hmm.
because I think when you have people who are doing illegal things in your community or immoral things, that it's perfectly fine to call them out. That's not attacking them or being racist or whatever. That's just calling people out on their behavior.
Yep. Yeah.
And if I call my kids out on their behavior, then I expect adults to be,
Yep.
accepting. If you're going to play in the big kid world, then you should have to acknowledge what you're doing and what you're not doing. So,
Agreed.
And she's not the only one who's come up with crazy GoFundMe's for different things. People bought knitting trucks and I don't know, all sorts of ones that they've raised money for that never materialized.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a dyer in England, I think, who was um, money for a yarn truck to go around to different yarn festivals. I think she ended up selling it and then making a profit over what was given for her to buy it or something. I don't know all the details. I just know there's plenty of scammers out there, and that's not even the ones who fake their own deaths.
Well, it's, I don't know. I have a problem with it in that why should I pay for it for you? You
Yeah.
know, I know that everybody's instinct is to be kind and help others, but
Well, I think from a business standpoint, if you have to GoFundMe to
mhm,
start your business, then you don't have a viable business plan.
right.
I mean, sure thing, emergencies happen, flooding, tornado, whatever, that kind of thing.
Uh,
But if you're starting out with a GoFundMe, then you're not in a
mhm.
position where you have the money to actually function, and you don't have a business plan of how to use the money correctly.
Well, I know there was one, I mean, this was a long, long time ago. Um, and back then they used to say, okay, if you give me this much to start my business, you'll get a skein of yarn or something.
Which is totally different thing as long as because
Mhm,
that's you're expecting them to
mhm,
use that money as a business expense,
mhm,
and you get something back. That's totally different thing. I think
mhm,
just the ask for money is,
mhm.
yeah, send me money to support my husband's lifestyle so I don't have to work. I need to be home and knit all the cows and cows. Exactly,
Right?
Deanna. We all need to go fund me. We need one
But
for Neil so he can come to America.
yes, we need to find somebody to marry him to keep him over here.
If somebody's willing, I'm sure he'd make a great husband.
I love Neil.
I do too. I just wish he was on now since he forgot, and he won't be on next week because he's got like three different things he's doing, three different interviews and
Oh,
podcasts in a row.
he's becoming famous, huh?
He is.
Well,
Um,
I think it was so funny. Tabitha was like an ambassador for Nitpicks, and they
yeah.
said they found out who she was and took it away.
Well, I think somebody probably contacted them and badmouthed her
Yeah,
personally.
yeah.
And there are people in our community who do that too because they don't want anybody who thinks differently from them or has a different lifestyle to succeed, which is sad because we grew up with the live and let live kind of generation.
Yeah, I think
You you're
you
worried
are a
about
bit
yourself.
younger than me, but we sound a lot alike.
Well, I was born in 68.
Oh yeah, you're a lot younger than me. I was born in 59.
Still the same generation,
Yeah.
but I was reading a thing where it said Gen Z parents don't read to their children because they don't like to, and they figure they'll learn it in school. And it's so they'd rather entertain them with screens. And I don't know, I enjoyed reading to my children.
Yeah.
Both my kids learned to read early. My son taught himself how to read, and because we read to him when they were little, and then when he could read, we made him his kindergarten teacher had them read their reading assignments 3 times. So they read one to one parent, one to the other parent, and
Hmm.
then run together. And so he'd read what to us and to his sister, and sometimes he'd read to the dog because for that third time. But it said they don't want to bother because they figure it's something they'll learn in school. And
No.
yeah, Gen Z parents can't read. A lot of them can't write, and we know that most of them can't write in cursive because they didn't learn it, um, which
I
is
heard
ridiculous.
I heard a comedian one time that said if they take over, it'll be no problem. All we have to do is get, paper maps and write in cursive
And
and
landlines. Yeah, I mean, I remember in geography class learning how to read maps. We had to learn how to read maps all through school because that's what we had.
Mhm.
We didn't have GPS. And when we did, it was MapQuest, and you had to print out like 15 pages
I remember that. And then
to
if
go
you
anywhere.
missed the exit, you were on your own.
I know because there was no recalculating. Yeah, manual transmissions. That's one. Dial-up phones.
I love
When we
driving.
wa when we watched made my kids watch War Games years ago, my son was horrified by the modem where you'd have the landline and have to put it in the modem. It was like, "What the heck is that?" Like, that's how we went online back in the day. But, yeah, they're just it's a different world, but the basics, you still need to yeah, I mean, I could still figure out how to read a map. It's been years, but I think I
Mhm.
could because we learned. I don't think my kids learned in school.
Mm-mm.
I know my daughter, the year before her year was the last year they taught cursive in our school district. So she learned how to write her name, and that's all they taught them.
Yeah. Well, what was the other thing I just thought of that we had to learn? Shoot, it'll come back to me. But
Yeah, good luck buying a map. I'm sure you can still get them online. I don't think gas stations sell them anymore, though.
well, I
But
mean, do you guys have the Thomas guides out there?
yeah, we have them.
When I first moved to California, I mean, from where I was from, I had a one-page map, and that was it.
Hmm.
But when I first moved to California and I learned about the Thomas guides, I was like, what is this? We have a book for a map?
Yeah, you can go to AAA too, and they will do a triptych for you with the maps and plan out your. Yeah, truck stops do still have maps. My husband would see them there, but the truckers don't use them because they have their own trucker GPS, which is
Yeah.
supposed to guide them on streets that the trucks can go on, as opposed to streets where trucks can't go on. But it's at least when he was driving up until the last couple of years, they wasn't the most accurate because one time he ended up in Mexico.
Oh, jeez.
They had him because he was doing a delivery in San Diego, and he ended up crossing the border following the GPS and had to turn around and come back 15 minutes later. Which,
My my GPS when I went to Pasadena said, "Oh, there's a lot of traffic. You could save 11 minutes by going this way." And I was like, "No, I want to stay on the freeway, even if it is going to save me a little bit of time." And it took me that way anyway.
yeah, it's crazy. I know there's a lot of Gen Z or influencers in the craft world too, and I know they complain about them a lot on Craftsmart because most of them are new to crafting and
Mhm.
immediately want to monetize without having the basic skills. You know,
Oh, they want to monetize their channels.
well, they want to monetize their patterns and their channels and things, but they don't have the basic skills of how to write a pattern or make a pattern. And
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some of the patterns, and it's like, this is a basic pattern.
yeah,
Why should I pay for it?
yeah, there was some that I was reading today. They were complaining, and because the largest size was extra large, which was a 39, and larger extra large people were like, "What now?" Um, I mean, I get making size inclusive patterns. I'm not against it. However, I think some patterns can be made in other sizes if the designer isn't designing a specific silhouette and they only want to design it in certain sizes. I don't think they should be
Forced.
forced to make them bigger because sometimes they don't have the skills to make them bigger. I know I don't always have the skills. And
Well,
so instead, you're just making something that's big that's not going to fit because
well,
everyone who gets heavy gets heavy differently.
that's
And
where I'm at. My attitude has always been, just because you can wear something doesn't mean you should.
yeah, there's a lot of people wearing things that they probably shouldn't, in my opinion. I did see a rant today by one of the NFL players who was calling out women dressing the way they are, especially celebrities, barely there, see through, no clothing, and how it's wrong. And he was speaking at a college campus saying that, this is not good. You need to have more respect for yourself.
Yeah.
And I would say that they would say, oh, it's the men want it that way.
It's the what?
Yes, they say, well, men want us to dress this way. And then they complain about being objectified. So you can't have it both ways.
I know. It's very frustrating.
Yeah, it's crazy. And size inclusive, I think if you have the skills to make something in a whole bunch of sizes, great. If you don't, there's nothing wrong with that because, some sizes don't look good, like some, and just because a certain amount of ease looks good on one size doesn't mean it's going to look that much ease is going to look good on a larger size. So a lot of
Yep.
designers will cut the ease to make it fit better. So it's not going to be as loose as on the smaller size because people's body shapes are different. It's
Mhm.
never going to look the same. Somebody who's a size extra small with a thin frame, it's never going to look the same on somebody who's a larger size. It's just not.
Yep.
The silhouette's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
It's just we're
Well,
all different.
it comes back to common sense. You know, I know that I'm not going to buy a pattern where, I cut off at the midriff. No, nobody wants to see that.
Exactly.
And so, I mean, I'm not going to waste my money on a pattern like that, even if it does have a larger size,
And I think too, we've lost a lot of skills because all the older knitting patterns assume that you knew how to modify for your own size and shape. And now people get really unhappy if everything is not spelled out for them for
Mhm.
every single little thing, and not. And to me, that's a skill set that you want to get better at what you do
Right.
at your craft. You should learn what works for your body and what not if you're knitting for your own body.
Yeah.
You can't expect every pattern to have every specific little thing without the knowledge. Okay, I assume you know how to cast on. I assume you know how to bind off.
Right.
Unless there's a specified one that you need to use, you shouldn't have to, spell that out in every pattern, or what a knit stitch or a purl is, or, a yarn over. Those are
Yeah.
basic things that, people, and they can find them anywhere. I mean, when I remember my mom learned to knit from a book back in the 60s because she didn't have a knitting class or a knitting group. She learned
Right.
from a library book
Yeah.
and was doing it wrong until she met a coworker who knew how to knit and taught her how to do not twist her stitches.
I learned how to knit from a book, and I was doing purling wrong until somebody showed me, no, you put the yarn in front to do a purl.
Yeah.
So,
Unless you're Norwegian purling.
yeah.
Then you can have the yarn in the back.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people don't take the time to research, or if they have a question, try looking up the answer first before you ask other people. And because there's so much free stuff available online to teach.
Have been working on very close to finishing a tutorial for how I knit a vanilla sock. So that should be out hopefully soon.
Cool. Excuse me. I like tutorials. I like learning from people who know what they're talking about, and not people who have just been crocheting for like a year and decide that they've created a new stitch.
Mm-hmm.
And then they name it something. It's like, no, that's not what that stitch is called. Or that stitch is around. It's been around forever, and no, you didn't invent it.
Well, I do quirky things when I knit myself. Like my cast on is like the Tilly Buddy cast on, and I use little markers on my heel that tells me which row to decrease and which row not to decrease. And so I'm putting all of that in a tutorial.
See, that's nice, but you're putting it out there and people can find that and learn that, before they have to, go out there and,
Right.
ask. And I'm not knocking people who ask. I just think that, check YouTube first.
Look it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I had to go all over the place before I found, and it might not be anything anybody else wants to do, but that's okay. I'm still going to do it. Like when I close up the toe, I don't use Kitchener. Yeah, I use the Finchley graph.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I learned that on Roxanne Richardson. I do. I just her attitude sometimes. She talks down to people.
Mm-hmm.
That's the part I don't like. She's very talented and she's very knowledgeable, but just her, I'm a master knitter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know I'm not a master knitter, but I get by.
I know
So,
I'm not either, but it's just every episode she has to point that out. And it's like, yes, but you only use like 3 colors when you knit ever. Like gray, beige.
yeah.
Oh, you just saw Mr. Mom and Evan. Yeah, we did, Chicken Lady. He walked across.
That's Papa Nevin.
Papa
There-
Evan, there he is.
There's
Aw,
Papa.
he delivers. That's awesome.
I know.
That's very cool.
He is the absolute best, and I don't know how I ever got lucky enough to grab his attention.
Well, good for you. We're lucky. We have good people in our lives
Mm-hmm.
and good friends who knit and crochet and cross stitch and weave and spin, which I'm never going to do because I don't need to learn as much as I'd learn to weave. I'd love to learn to weave, but I can't add another, I just can't add another craft. I have too much stuff. I have so much cross stitch stuff and I have so much knitting stuff. And yeah, no.
Well, I have one of those 4-inch weaving boards that were so popular. I can't think. Zoom Loom.
Yeah.
One of those. I don't
But
use it. Makes
yeah,
really little things, but
there's just not enough hours in the day for all the crafts.
right. Yeah, I have to decide what's most important. You know, my weather blanket is going to take forever because I'm back in February on it. So
Yeah, but just think when it's done, it'll be great.
yeah, here. And I have since taken up mosaic crochet.
Oh, nice.
But here it is.
Wow. That's awesome. That's
Really,
a lot of squares.
yes. Well, and it's only, like I said, I finished January, but that's not February. What are you doing? Pirate's in here helping me.
Aw, good boy.
Look, Pirate, say hi to Miss Liz.
Hi, Pirate.
He
Guess
left.
not. He's done. He's too busy for us.
He's trying to get into stuff. Is the thing.
Of course. I just
keep this door closed.
Oh, yeah. I've never thought about doing a temperature blanket because when the temperatures here, the difference in temperatures here wouldn't be that much to make a change, really.
Mine don't fluctuate a lot, but they fluctuate.
I did see a cross stitch one where it was a bookshelf, and every day was a book. And so you would do two. The books were like 2-row books, and you do 1 row for the high and the low in each book.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and so it was small enough to doable.
And you also don't have to have it on your lap in the summer.
That is true. That is true. That was one thing when I lived in New Jersey in the winter when I was always crocheting blankets. It was nice because that was that extra layer over your legs to keep you warm. But yeah, I guess Neil is too busy to join us since he forgot.
Fine.
That's fine. He'll be on 3 times next week, so you'll get plenty of seeing him.
There you go. But what are you going to do as a summer activity to take a picture for Summer on the Lanai?
I don't know. I have to figure that out. My one for Blocked, I know how I'm going to do that picture because that's going to be for the magazine. So I have in my head how I want to set that up. But I don't have a clue for any of the others. And we don't have the greatest scenery here. It's not like all the places with the pretty trees and the forest and the lakes and the rivers. No, we have Vegas. And so it's not the best for photography for that kind of stuff. But I don't know yet. I'll have to figure that out. Shark Week, I know what I'm going to do because my kids got me the Jaws anniversary Lego set for Christmas.
Ooh.
So I will put that together and use that with my Shark Week project.
Well, I am going to get a floaty that I can do like I'm rearing back on into my chair and have a plastic tub in my lap with my knitting in it. So
That's cool.
we get
I
hubby
have a lounge chair. I could probably sit outside.
for
That-
2 minutes.
Well, if I did it in the morning before it got too
Yeah.
hot. But
Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't be bringing anything out to watch because it'd be too hot to bring a tablet out.
No.
It would melt. So we'll see. I'll have to figure that out because we don't have a pool. My sister-in-law has a pool. Maybe I
Yeah.
can do something at her house. We'll have
Well,
to see.
Just stick your feet in the pool and be knitting.
You're not going to watch him out of spite, oh, Neil. That's so funny.
Watch my show instead.
Yeah, watch everybody else because Tabitha's got another one coming up, Gypsy Rose Lee, I think.
Ooh.
And then Amy or not Amy, DK and Ann just posted one with an interview with Carrie Smith. Just went up yesterday, I think, or the day before. I still have to watch it. And Shauna Stitches just did hers. Chicken Lady, you don't have to watch your own because you were in it, so you know what you said. But you know, you can if you want.
Yes, we have a lot to choose from.
Yeah, and trying to think this podcast, Coggy, her high fiber diet podcast, and who else does them? It's hard to keep track. There's so many knitting and crafting podcasts, and some really great ones out there, and some really boring ones of people who think they know better. I don't like the ones where they tell you what you should knit or what yarn you should use or what needles you should use. I think, everybody learns from their own experience, and you can give suggestions and say, hey, I like these needles, but I would never tell somebody what they should or should not knit. And some of them are kind of preachy, you know. And a lot of the podcasters, they all make the same things. Oh yeah, Wildcard Wednesdays. I watch those.
Yes, I saw that today.
Tina has her Wildcard Wednesdays, and Chicken Lady has her Freaky Friday or Funky Fridays, which are fun to watch. From those of us who can't dye yarn, or probably shouldn't dye yarn because we don't have great color sense.
Yeah.
I have dyed yarn. I used to dye yarn when I first started knitting socks because I couldn't afford hand dyed yarn. And so I would buy the Premier Serenity sock yarn in their off-white colorway or their natural colorway, and I would use food dyes and dye that. So I could have hand dyed sock yarn. And it was fun. And in Las Vegas, you hang it outside and it's dry in a couple hours, so you don't have to worry about it drying.
Here too.
Yeah, so that was always nice. I didn't have to worry about it taking forever to dry.
No, that's the thing. People are like, "What do you want us to do with the wet beach towel?" Just
leave it outside.
It'll be dry in a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. Like my daughter, we went to do haircuts today, and they had to wet all her hair down because it's so thick. And she's like, "Well, it's wet, but if I spend more than 15 minutes outside, it'll be dry, even though her hair is really thick. But it's hot out, so and the sun reflects all over here, so you get it from every direction.
So
things dry quickly.
I feel bad for you. I really do.
Thank you. It's it's the nature of living in a city like this. Everything's built up, and it's the desert, so we don't have a lot of trees. We have a lot of palm trees, which I find hilarious because we're not tropical, but they thrive here. So go figure.
Yeah.
They don't give much shade though.
No, I'm not a big palm tree person because the city plants them in front of our house. But when the wind comes along and blows all those palm fronds down, guess who has to pick them up?
Yep. Our we have one palm tree. We had one palm tree in our yard and it was half dead, and it's gone now. But we do have an HOA that really gets uptight about things being in the yard, and I'm sure they're going to come after me for weeds. But we've had 50-mile-an-hour winds. I'm not going to go out there and blow weeds and stuff till the wind calms down, because what's the point? It's just going to keep blowing around. So hopefully they won't make a fuss for the next week or so till it evens out and I can get out there. But yeah, the palm fronds are not fine. Palm trees get blown over. But we have them all heights here. We have the little ones to the giant ones.
You know, we
And
have a terrible problem with is bamboo. Somebody,
really,
somebody put bamboo in my backyard, and I say
it
ugly
took
things.
over.
Oh, it's horrible. It's horrible because
That's not good.
bamboo can grow like overnight.
Well, it has to feed panda bears. They eat a lot
Yeah.
of bamboo.
Yeah. Well, if the zoo wants to come get some, come on down.
That's
But it is what
not
it is.
good. Not good to have them in your yard.
What, pandas?
No, bamboo.
Yeah, I know.
Pandas would be fun, but I don't know how well they would thrive where we live.
No, whoever lived in our house before us planted bamboo to help us with privacy, I think, from the school.
Oh,
Yeah. But I mean, it gets so out of control.
it's like kudzu in the South.
Mhm.
Thanks, Therese. Wish you had been here. And I was lucky that Joan was able to come on and I wouldn't be alone because Neil forgot us. And I hope you had a great anniversary. So she should be back next week. And I don't know who else will be there, but it won't be Neil because he's already got too much on his plate next week. He's getting interviewed and on one, and then he's got his blocked extravaganza of doxing. And then
Oh, I can't wait to hear that. That's going to be.
That's going to be crazy.
Am I awful for enjoying that?
No, because they're mean people. I'm laughing because I got these needles from their Knitter's Pride. They're mindful needles. And they came with a stitch marker, which is, kind of cool. But I'm realizing it's a pentagram.
What?
Yes, it's a little 6-pointed star. It's a pentagram.
Oh, that's not good. But that's also a Star of David, though, isn't it?
But I don't think that's how they
No
intend it. But it's mindful, I guess, with witchcraft, maybe. I don't know. Just crazy.
I don't know. But
I was just because it just came in the mail. I'm looking around like, why is there a pentagram on here? But okay.
Yeah. Think of it as a Star of David.
Yeah, except it doesn't have. Yeah, it could be a Star of David, but I don't think that was the intent.
No.
In any way, shape, or form.
And intent, unfortunately, matters.
You would hope so. Don't want crazy people. I don't need witchcraft.
Well, that's why I was asking. I answered Neil back. He did. He emailed me and asked me more details about the shawl I want to knit, and he, I miss my brain. I wish it would come back. But he was asking me about the knit-alongs, and I said, do we want just the ones of people we know? Or do we want, any that we can find out about?
Good question. What did he say?
He has not answered me. So maybe he will.
Maybe he will.
I don't know. I mean, like Nitty Natty always has a knit along in the summer, and it's like, I don't know.
I don't know. Crazy.
I know. I don't know what to think about that. I have participated in the past, but I'm kind of doing my own thing this year, so I don't think I'm going to participate.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Because it's like, yeah, I mean, they may be okay, but their group may not be okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, because you're not just, if it's a pentacle, it's upside right. Upside right? I don't know. At the top is
a point.
a point. I don't know. I just find it funny. It's their mindful needles. You know, they're be kind and treat yourself and whatever,
Mm-hmm.
ones that they believe in.
Yeah.
I do like them because they have the cords that are close to they're not as nice as ChiaoGoo, but they're bendable. They're
Okay.
like the plastic covered metal cords. My complaint is they're not as sharp. So they're not great if you need the tip to get underneath things. So
yeah, I love ChiaoGoos because
I've got some of the Forte ones because you can buy them individually now.
oh, okay.
And I really like them because they've got a nice point without being sharp, like
Mm-hmm.
some of them. And what's also nice is they have on the bottom where they have two different styles. They have small ones with small connectors and large ones with large connectors.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have the choice of those, and they use the regular cables. But on the bottom, it'll give you the US size, 4 or 6 or whatever. And then on the tip, it tells you the millimeters on each one. So it's a lot easier to tell them than the regulars. But they're really nice. They're carbon fiber, and I like them. I found them on Etsy. You can buy them individually. They're not cheap, but
yeah,
you get a set here and there, and eventually you'll have all the ones you need.
yeah. Sorry, I have to turn my ceiling fan on because it got really warm in here all of a sudden. Either that or I'm having a private summer.
You never know at our age.
Can you hear that?
A little bit, but it's not bad.
Okay. If it gets annoying, let me know. I just need to cool off for a minute.
Yeah, I have a fan going because it's Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Forte set is $1,350 if you buy the set, but if you buy the individual needles, here and there, you can get the ones you use mostly for like $14 a pair. Some are cheaper.
Oh yeah.
Which isn't. Some are a little more. Like I get them from Handsome Fibers, from Etsy. I've bought needles from them for years, and I think they're usually like $14, $14.60 or something per pair, depending on the size. And I've got a few of them here and there. And I like them because they're ChiaoGoo and they're really well. The join is what I like the best. It's super smooth where it goes into the connectors. And I'm really a fan of it. And it's like normally where the metal hits the tip, you can feel it, but you can't. It's like completely smooth. And it's got the long tip without being pointy sharp that's going to poke a hole in you, which I like.
When I was trying to be one of the cool kids and I bought some signature needles and I got the stilettos because that was what the cool kids were buying, and they were a little bit too sharp for me.
I got one of the sets of the Brick House needles because somebody was asking if anybody had bought them, and I wanted to try them. And I did because they're the square, so they're the ergonomic ones, and they're not sharp, but they're pretty pointy. Like I've had some that like the stiletto ones that can do a number. These are not bad. They're still. I like them for when I'm knitting lace or when I'm doing cables. And because it just gives you that much space on the tip to work your needle in.
Or when I'm going back and putting, I knitted with the wrong needle.
Yeah. I like them. They also spin on the bottom so you don't get them tangled. And they've got a metal cable, which is nice too.
And what are
they're not cheap. Brick House.
Okay.
But they're $35 a pair. I got one pair to try them.
Well, that's half of what the signatures were.
Yeah, but the ChiaoGus are cheaper.
Hmm.
And normally I prefer metal, I mean wood needles because I have Raynaud syndrome and the metal needles will bother my hands over time. But that's why I like the new ChiaoGu because they're the carbon fiber and the hardwood,
Oh yeah.
so that they don't draw the heat out of your hands like metal ones do.
Hmm.
But it's mainly crochet that I have a problem with metal. Like I can't use metal hooks.
I have crocheted for years and years and years, and I have had to start doing the knife hold instead of the fork hold
Uh-huh.
because when I was making blankets for my kids, my shoulder was killing me. And, I was just in so much pain. And I was telling the boys, I was like, your hobby's not supposed to hurt.
No, no. I've always done the knife hold because that's how I learned. Because my
Yeah.
grandmother was left-handed and I'm right-handed, and so I just made it work because she would teach me. And but I've always done the knife hold, and I was always told by older people who would see me crocheting in public that I was doing it wrong.
Yeah.
That's not the way you're supposed to hold your hook. Well, you know what? Mind your own business.
Well, I found a lot of relief for my shoulder pain by switching the way I crocheted.
Hmm. Yeah, it's much less movement.
Hmm.
It's all hand movement, which I can't really do now. So I can't crochet right now because I can't grasp the hook and twist as much. But that's one of the reasons why I like continental knitting, because I learned by watching Arnie and Carlos. And when they hold the yarn over your finger, it's right next to the knitting. So it's not like held up, it's like right next to where you're knitting. So it's really good ergonomically. Like you're just picking off the yarn right around your finger and not, and so it's much better ergonomically because you're not really you're only really moving your one hand. So
Yeah,
I find that works better for me.
I'm really bad about that. I do knit continental, but my finger's like way back there. And that's
No,
I
mine is,
am such a loose knitter.
I'm a fairly loose knitter too, because I hold the yarn the same way I hold it when I crochet.
Hmm.
Because when I learned to crochet, I was a very tight crocheter, very tight to the
Hmm.
point you couldn't get the needle in or hook in, and so I had to force myself not to hold the yarn so tight so that I could control my stitches. So when I knit, it's like the yarn is right by the knitting, so it doesn't have anywhere to go.
Well, I'm left-handed, and my mom taught me to crochet right-handed. So it was
Yeah, so
hi, Tyler.
yeah, that's crazy. No, my grandmother didn't make me learn knit left-handed because I was right-handed, and then my dad also taught me because she made all of her sons learn how to do it, and he's the only one who could remember how. And he taught me how to granny square, and he was left-handed,
Cool.
so I would sit opposite them and copy.
That is so cool to do that.
But every time I would knit out or crochet out in public, I'd get some older lady telling me I was holding the hook wrong. Like, well, it works for me, so
Yeah, and that's what's important, and that's how I feel about people's knitting too. It's like, okay, you might hold your. What are you doing? He's
yeah.
you
Lynn, just when you buy the Forte needles, you can buy the S or the L, whichever type. I guess the S ones are pointier than the L ones. Just make sure you get the cable that is made for the larger connector or the
know.
cable that's made for the smaller connector. But otherwise, it's just the same regular ChiaoGu cables, the red ones.
Okay,
Um,
but
just
does
as,
it swivels, or is that the brick?
um, the brick house swivels, these don't,
Mm-hmm.
um, but I haven't had a problem with them though. So not swiveling is not bothering me too much.
That's good.
But I figure every once in a while when I have a little extra money, just order a set and then
Mm-hmm.
you get all the ones you usually use. And but
I usually use the sock sizes.
well, yeah, then you buy the sock, the sock ones. The only thing I wish they had short tips because they don't have short tips like they have the regular ChiaoGoo. Because I like when I'm knitting a hat or knitting a sleeve, I'd prefer to do it in the round as opposed to DPNs. I don't like DPNs. And some patterns, it's really difficult to do magic loop because of where your cable is in the pattern. Like if the cable's in the middle of where the magic loop is, it's a pain. So I prefer to do them in the round, and I like using I have the Knitter's Pride, or not Knitter's Pride, Knit Picks, the 2 3/4 inch tips, which are really great for knitting for hats because they turn in your hand easy. They don't have like the long needle that, sometimes 16-inch needles don't actually seem to feel like they're in the round when you use them because the tips are too long, so they don't bend around as much. So I like the shorter tips for that. But the ChiaoGoos, the Fortes are not in the short tips yet.
How long of a cable do you use to knit a hat?
I use the regular 16-inch cable, whichever you would use but I like the shorter tips.
Okay.
Well, mostly for sleeves. I mean, hats, I'm more. It's fine if I use a rod, but for sleeves, a lot of times I like having the shorter tip because it makes you're not having to stretch it out. 9-inch tips, I have a problem with.
Well, I bought these because look how long the one is that you knit.
And then short on the other.
Yeah. Yeah, I love these. But I'm only using them on one row because I don't know if you can see this, but the row that you slip one, knit one, I was having trouble with the decoration was going away. So I used a bigger needle. And so
okay.
The round that I do that, I use a bigger needle.
Okay, gotcha. So it stands out more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have not used the ones that are the shorter on one side or not.
I can highly recommend them.
How long are they total? Like, are they 12 inches, or are they a little more than 12-inch, or how to?
Let me find a ruler.
What length are they?
Let me find a ruler. Oh, here's a ruler right here. Okay. So they are I think they're about a 10-inch.
Okay. Yeah, I've tried 9-inch and those just my hands don't like them.
But they are. I'm trying to see if I have the thing for them.
I have the Knitter's Pride, the tiny ones, the little Knit Pro ones that are the super short needles. But I put them on a little bit longer cord, the 16-inch cord instead of the 12-inch cord. Okay. And I use them too.
Yeah. Well, usually every now and again I'll get a wild idea and decide to knit on 9-inch circulars, but usually it's always magic loop.
Yeah, I tend to for socks. I've tried 9-inch circular, but I just find my hands get tired faster, and my fingers get stiff. Sometimes I've used the Flexi Flips, but then I always tend to drop one at the end of the row because like when you pull it out and you drop the end with the magic loop. Well, as you spin it around, and I drop the Flexi Flip all the time. I don't know how people with DPNs do it because I would lose the DPNs constantly.
Well, the Flexi Flips that I have are really sharp, and I had a lot of trouble with them, like digging into my hand while I was knitting. So I was like,
it also depends on the size because there's some that are 7-inch and there's some that are shorter, and I like the shorter ones because they don't dig into your hand like that. But that's the thing. Everybody likes what they like.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people don't like magic loop, but I don't like DPNs because to me it's too fiddly.
Again, being from the live and let live generation, do what works for you.
That's right. Us Gen Xers get on with things.
Well, I'm not really a Gen Xer. I'm a boomer.
Yeah, but you're close to the beginning of Gen X, though.
Well, yeah, that's what I said. I always felt like I was, because boomers were like, you're not cool enough to be with us because you're at the end.
Hmm.
And but a lot of stuff I hear from people that are Gen X, I'm like, well, yeah, that is, me too. So
Yeah.
I kind of think I'm a boomer X.
Well, it's like the in between the Gen X and the millennials or the Zennials, who are close to millennials raised as Gen X. And I just crack up because I tell our kids, yeah, we in the summertime we had to leave the house, and my parents didn't know where we were unless you were on the street. If you were on the street, at least one parent knew where all the kids were and could tell the other parents. But we weren't always on the street, and we drank hose water, and yes, the hose was hot and it was not great, but you did what you had to do. And
Yeah, you had to let it run a little bit to get the hot water out of there.
yeah, because you learn one time not to not do that, because
Mm-hmm.
your older sibling doesn't bother to warn you, because
Yeah.
older siblings are that way. But yeah, I mean, we had to entertain ourselves. I mean, it's great that they have internet now and they can do stuff, but we didn't have, go use your imagination. I saw a TikTok. I don't have TikTok, but I get them on YouTube on the shorts. And this guy took his kids' electronics. They were kids, like
Mm-hmm.
maybe like 8 and 12, or maybe, and he took their electronics and he told them to go outside and play. And they were just sitting on the swing doing nothing because they didn't know what to do. Like they didn't have how to, imagine a game or imagine a scenario or pretend you're pirates or cops and robbers or whatever else we did growing up,
Well,
because we
worry
entertained ourselves.
it's like you can tell there's less imagination now. Like Hollywood hasn't had a new idea in years.
Oh God, no, no,
So
that's
it's,
for sure.
and it's like, it's because there's no imagination there.
Nope. And kids don't have to entertain themselves because
Because they have
they
internet. Yeah.
have internet. And my kids had tablets when they were little, but they didn't get to use them all the time like we didn't.
Mhm.
And they didn't even get smartphones. I
Mhm.
got them phones when they started going to magnet school and had to be bused across town so that
Mhm.
they could call me and tell me when the bus was at the bus stop to pick them up.
Mhm.
But they were not smartphones; they were flip phones.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I didn't even get them smartphones until they were end of middle school.
Yeah.
And they weren't great ones that they couldn't, it was slow and they couldn't do a whole lot of stuff on
Yeah.
because they didn't need it. Now I laugh because our teachers told us that we had to learn how to do math in our head because it's not like we're going to be carrying a calculator around with us everywhere. It's like, haha, you were wrong.
Yep. Yeah.
We have
I
a whole
know
computer in our phone now. Yeah, I'm really sad because quicksand was something I was sure was something that was going to be something came across a lot. That was a lie. Because think about how many shows that people quicksand was a thing, and not once have I seen it in real life. It's kind of sad.
And you would think where you lived, you'd have more of a chance of seeing it.
I know. I like a couple of the Gen X influencers I watch. They crack me up because they were watching some of the Gen Z videos where they drink Everclear, and they react to these kids drinking Everclear. And they're like, "Nope, you don't want to do that." And the kid will like, "Well, I'm going to take a shot." Nope, you don't want to do that. Trust me. And then they spit it out and they're dying from it. Like, yep, that's why I said you didn't want to do that. Like, we're telling you, we survived lots of things in our time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Deanna, you're right. Your bike was as important as a car to an adult because it went everywhere. And you
Mm-hmm.
usually went with a group of friends, jumping over things you probably shouldn't have tried to jump a bike over, or
Well,
roller skating over things.
when you think about, it's like, if my mother knew, it would be bad.
Oh yeah, my mother. There were many, many things my mother did not know. Like then again, we were sent outside to go entertain ourselves, so she didn't need to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
As
Well,
long as we came home when the lights came on, we were good.
well, I lived out in the country, so. But I mean, I used to go wandering in the woods and stuff by myself. I saw a snake one time. I kind of stopped doing it after that.
Yeah, when I lived in North Carolina, there were copperheads we would see in the woods, and
It,
yellow jackets and all sort of things. And then
mhm,
when I lived in New Jersey, the neighborhood that we moved into was under construction because it was a new neighborhood. So we
mhm.
were wandering construction sites during the day in the summertime. We were. It's a wonder nobody fell down an open hole into a stairwell or something because we just the construction guys went home. So it's we'd wander the construction sites. Oh, this plywood, it'd be great to make a bike jump. It's terrible.
Well, I heard this comedian one time, and he said the funniest thing because he's a boomer. And he goes, these kids, everything's padded and all this stuff. And he goes, yeah, when we were kids, you had to learn what not to do because the dumb ones didn't make it.
That's true. Darwin is a thing for a reason because some kids took it too seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Like I saw this where this guy got killed by sharks and he had told his friends before he went out he wanted to swim with the sharks. And he thought it was smart to go at dusk to go out swimming with bull sharks who are in feeding mode. It's like,
How dumb are you?
Darwin is a thing for a reason. Oh yeah, Bigfoot. I would have loved to have seen Bigfoot as a kid. That would have been cool. But I mean, we went in the woods. We had ticks. We had all sorts of bugs and all sorts of nasty things in the woods. And you just survived it. And you came home and you didn't tell your parents if you were really hurt because you weren't supposed to be there in the first place. And what they didn't know, you didn't get punished for. You know,
On the nose. On the nose.
I fell out of a tree and landed on my back one time because the branch broke. And where you hit and you can't breathe and you're stunned. And I
Mhm.
I had to go home and pretend that my back did not hurt because if my mom had known I'd been climbing that tree, she'd
Mhm.
punish me because she'd already said don't climb the tree. But of course, that's like saying here you go, climb this tree to a child
Mhm.
in that age because your parents told you not to. That was something clearly you really wanted to do.
Yep.
But I mean, here it's harder for kids to go out and play because it's just so hot in the summer,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's not like you can just go out for hours and hours and hours. But without coming in and getting hydrated all the time.
Mhm. Mhm.
But when I was growing up as a kid, it was, we'd see you at dinner time and, you
And
know,
if you were lucky, somebody's mom fed you.
yep, that's true. Lucky, yeah, sandwiches usually they'd bring the sandwiches outside because they didn't want you to come in their clean house and mess up their house.
So funny. So.
Now you can't let your kids walk 2 blocks without getting arrested for neglect.
Mhm.
And I get it, it's a different world. There's a lot more access to things and cars are faster but you also have to let kids learn and get their bearings and learn how to do things and keeping them bottled up and safe they
Yeah.
don't learn
Yeah.
you know and
Yep. Yep. Yep.
like that mother who got arrested because her kid was walking home from
Mhm.
the store and it was a mile but they lived in the country, everybody knew everybody in the town, he
Mhm.
you know his grandpa knew where he was on his way home and she got arrested for child neglect and she was like, are you crazy? Because it's I did that growing up. My brothers did that growing up. We all walked to the same corner store and home, and
Yeah.
he was off the road. He wasn't on the road. He had a phone. He could have called. But now it's an arrestable offense because you can't let your kids be feral anymore.
Well, I think it's that they don't trust. the parents, because a lot of parents these days don't have common sense.
Oh, I know. I watched a video this morning of a woman who the cops got called because she was in the gym and somebody saw her child in the car. She left her child in the car when she went in the gym. And she came out and she claimed that she was only there 10 or 15 minutes. And she goes, well, I did my workout and then I took a shower. He goes, in 20 minutes, you worked out and did a shower? Really? She was in there. The gym people had tracked when she came in and left, and she'd been in there 2 hours. In Florida, the car wasn't on. And she couldn't understand why she was being arrested for child neglect. Like, you can't leave your 3-year-old by themselves in the car for 2 hours with in the heat. And then she could not grasp why they were mad at her. She kept saying, well, it's just a mistake. No, it's not a mistake. And it's more than likely not the first time she'd done it, just the first time she got caught. But
yeah.
I mean, my parents never left us individually in the car by ourselves, but if there were more than one of us, they'd leave us in the car, as long as, we were old enough to get out of the car if we had to. We weren't toddlers, but my mom would go in the store and leave us in the car, and she figured we were bickering so much nobody would be interested in us anyway. But we were probably 7 or 8 years old, and old enough to get in and out of the car. It's not like we were trapped in there in the heat. But she never left us alone in the car. But anytime my brother and sister and I were together, we argued, and so she figured nobody would be interested in that.
See, if I argued, they would take me away because I'd be arguing with myself.
Oh no, my parents knew we argued, but if they weren't there to hear it, we didn't get in trouble for it. If they had to listen to it, then it was their problem. But if they
all about staying out of trouble.
Yes. Yeah, and unfortunately there's so many parents who are just now who don't pay attention to their kids, or abuse, they don't want to be parents. And so they are not taking care of their kids or paying attention to their kids, or and then they can't understand, well, no, we found your toddler walking out on the highway and you didn't even know they were missing.
Yeah, that happened recently, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. This woman killed her daughter. She shot her daughter. She claimed that her ex did it, and then someone else did it, and then she claimed her 2-year-old took a stool, went in another room, climbed up on top of a closet, and got the gun and shot his sister. And they knew and she claimed she lied about it because she didn't want people to know that he had done it. She was protecting him. Like, there's no way he physically could have done that. And if he had, she should not have left a gun where he had access to.
Thank you.
I mean, we take gun ownership seriously. People, smart gun owners do, but some people don't. And that's frightening. So, well, thank you for coming. I really appreciate it.
You are more than welcome. I am available pretty much any time.
And you can let Neil know that you stood up for him and he owes you. After you get him a list of all the different knit-alongs and when they are, and hashtags and whatnot.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to work on getting the hashtags. You want me to do that, or you want to do that?
If you know some of them, that's fine. I know Tabitha's. I only know Tabitha's.
Okay.
Honestly, and our Mayhem Mao, which was our stripe one.
Okay.
I don't know the top of the head of any of the others. I just have the logos.
All right, I will find the hashtags for all of the knit-alongs.
Awesome.
And I know some people don't use Instagram, so for mine, I'm kind of thinking I should do a Telegram. Oh, sure.
1 second. Sorry about that. My lamp
Yep.
fell over.
I
And
thought about
we had a delivery, so that I didn't think my daughter heard, so
I was like,
I had to go.
should I keep talking?
You can. I apologize. There was somebody at the door, and I don't think she heard them, and then my lamp fell over. So, you know,
Yeah.
Tina's all excited for so much knitting. Yeah, I'm excited for it because it'll be fun to see what people do to interpret the themes, which is always fun. But yeah, if you know of any, or you can find out any of the hashtags, send them an email. That would be great because
Yeah, I'll send them to Neil. If anybody knows of any others that they'd like us to mention to Neil, you can send me an email at mommanevin, MOMMANEVIN, @gmail.com.
And I wrote down the date of yours and I added your logo to our list of logos to remind people of the different ones. So
Well,
that'll be fun.
Mine's very off the cuff. Because my husband told me, he goes, you should do a thing where you take the Joann's logo and just cut the last N off. And then I noticed that it had a trademark. So it's like,
yeah,
not doing that.
Yeah, they wouldn't care because they're going out of business. But
who knows? Who knows?
It'll be fun. The next ones I want to hopefully space out.
Yeah.
So they're not all at the same time.
Everybody does them in the summer, and it's usually we have Kay's summer sock camp.
Yeah. I know she's not doing that this year.
No, she's got a lot going on. So.
Well, and that's understandable. I mean, people do it. I'm excited because I'm looking forward to what I'm knitting. I'm trying not to overwhelm myself with the size of the projects.
Mm-hmm.
Like a 1 skein for this, or maybe a 2 skein for that, or something.
Yeah,
is doable.
Yarn I have to wind up.
That too. That's not the fun part, but
I'm going to get on that this week. So
I'm more worried about trying to knit something in white without it getting something on it.
It's right
while you're knitting it. So
if Pirate tries to help me, I'm in trouble.
Well, Pirate's mostly white, so you're good that way.
Yeah.
If you get dog hairs on them, then you're good.
Because it will have dog hair in it, for sure.
Mine usually have my hair in it.
Yeah.
But
I have a lot of mine too that shows up in mine. So
just, sending some of your own love with it.
Nature of the beast.
And DNA.
Yeah.
Sending your own DNA. I know. I think I'm going to have 2 projects for the Moga. I had another one that I planned originally, but I don't think I'm going to have time since there's the other ones happening. So the white one. So I think I'll save that for later in the year.
Well,
that's a Christmas gift.
I was going to do socks out of this for Moga, but then I found the other socks. So.
Yeah, well, I have this orange yarn that I'm going to do for the block, and then I have some coming from Tina in her Bullhorn Enchilada colorway, which is blood orange color. That is amazing. So, because with my skin tone, I can't wear a lot of oranges.
Well, that's why I'm making stuff for my feet.
Yeah, I don't really wear socks though here.
Oh, okay.
I used to make socks all the time when I first started knitting because that's how I started knitting, to make socks. Because I thought it was cool to make socks. And then, because at the time, all the podcasts I watched, that's what they mainly did.
Mm-hmm.
And then I made a whole bunch of socks, but I don't really wear them unless we go up to Utah.
Mm.
So it doesn't make sense to make socks. So
I usually start out the morning wearing socks because it's cool here in the morning and then it gets hot.
Oh yeah, no, we're never that cool. I mean, I don't think we got down past, we might have had 1 or 2 days in the 30s this past winter, but that was it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I wear flip-flops year round mostly.
Okay.
So, well, thank you for coming. God, it's already after 6. I really appreciate it, and you're always welcome. So if you want, just let me know. I'll send you the link to join us, our Merry Band of Chaos. I don't know when we're going to do another Friday because I don't know about Joe, so it all depends on her schedule.
Yeah,
and
whenever someone that's not going to be available, just let me know.
Sure. Teresa and I will be here next Monday, and then maybe Amy. Neil won't be, but I don't know who else. It's always, a mystery. So Carol couldn't make it. She wasn't feeling well, and Tina was busy. So she was just in the chat commenting.
Well, their loss is my gain.
Yeah. Well, you're always welcome. And
thank you.
I've got your thing for the logo, and I will add it to the list of
perfect
ones to remember that I have to tag once this all starts. That'll be the thing, remembering each one that you can qualify for, because yours is just knit with you. So I can qualify for that. I can qualify orange. I can qualify Summer of Lanai. I can do 25 and 25, and probably Summer of Murder all in the same one.
I'm not that picky. You don't have to knit. You can crochet.
Okay.
Knit with Joan sounded catchier.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Fewer letters. Easier to remember.
Yeah.
But thanks so much for coming, and we will see you guys later. Thanks, chat, for hanging out and putting up with me by myself, talking to myself like a crazy person. I appreciate it. And we will see you guys next week. So bye. Just end this and then